Thank you, Jeremy, for okay to give us this talk. Okay, right. But before that, as usual, I will of course explain what is Yayasan Holistic Family all about. Yeah. Okay, very quick one. Okay, Yayasan Holistic Family Association is actually a foundation that was set up way back in actually 2015. Okay, right. We already started this where we want to really educate, equip, empower, enrich, and engage individuals and families in all aspects. Okay, encompassing holistically, that is mental, emotional, social, physical, and spiritual well-being. Okay, what we do is that we truly want to help individuals to rise above all situations and challenges. Okay, this whole Yayasan, okay, WFA, started by us lawyers, okay, where we see that sometimes clients that come to us, we can only help, okay, legally we can help, okay, perhaps to a certain extent, okay, but it's just beyond us, okay, we are unable to do so, so we need some expertise. That's why we actually set up this. Initially, our first initiative is what we call it a giving voice, where we, of course, organize legal talks that's within our capability to do, right? We want to empower some perhaps ladies, some in fact all sorts of legal talks, okay. Be it, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me? Right? Yeah. All thoughts, okay. In terms of even the entrepreneur side, okay. Anything at all, just for us to give free talks, okay, to empower people, right? And of course, one very important features in our first initiative is actually to really bring in counselors to help couples who come to us for some divorce and all those things. So that one we thought we truly want to help because we want counselors to really help them first before we ever want to do any divorce cases for them. So that's why that's our very first initiative, okay? Then the second initiative that we do is more of to aid and support the entrepreneurs. Okay, I said, sometimes people come to us with various needs. Like for example, they have their bankruptcy, they are winding up notices served on them. Okay, as lawyers, we can only help delay. We can't say that look totally they don't pay, right? So they have to actually pay, right? So that's why we thought, we can have this kind of platform for them to increase their businesses and things like that. So that's why we have the second initiative. Now, our third initiative is actually just started way back 2020. It's also not so, I mean, it has been quite some time, 2 years, okay? Yeah, we started in 2020 where, of course, we know that the pandemic hit not only Malaysia, but the whole world. And we find that, okay, it is very important for us to let the community know about the importance of food sustainability. And we actually, of course, our first speaker is actually our own client, where he talks about, the importance of really doing some farming because we want to reduce food imports. Okay? And of course, right now we know that chicken is so scarce. In fact, right now I'm actually traveling back from Singapore, because, I attended this our firm was actually nominated as one of the Southeast Asia IP Lawyer of the Year. So see, I was in Singapore, and in fact, the Singaporeans were telling me that, oh wow, okay, yeah, your Malaysia is shortage of chicken. They fat them, okay, so they actually have to make plans, okay, as to how to get a chicken supply already. Can you see also these are things that are happening, okay, right now, and of course it's good for us to do this kind of preparation to see how we can do on our own accord first, get to do farming from home, okay, right now. So we thought of using this greenhouse to help people, even though you do not have a garden or whatever, you can still do farming, okay, right? That's why what we want to advocate is that everyone can farm. Okay, this is what we want to do. That's why we have speakers, okay, from year 2020 to now. In fact, I would say, how many, every week we have been handling this one. That means 52 weeks times 2 is almost 100 over talks that we have actually run already, right? And of course, do collaborate with us. Continue to tell us any organization, any individual who are able to give talks, okay, to really collaborate with us so that we can actually bring this knowledge, okay, to many more people. And of course, today we are very, very privileged to have Mr. Jeremy, okay, Rizal, okay, all the way, okay, from Penang, okay, he's from Penang, right, okay, to really give us another perspective of farming. In fact, another perspective of farming is very much into the alternative energy as well, right, okay, yeah, I think year 2020 till now, as I say, 2 solid years of teaching us the very fundamentals, on germination, on the soil, all those things. I think you are experts already, right? I'm very glad that our Yayasan Sahabat here, you have actually done a lot. You have done your home farming already, but right now, okay, we want to actually graduate to even community farming. That's why the last 2 weeks, okay, we have Sim Fong teaching us on how he started community farming. Of course, today, we have Jeremy Rizal, where he wants to share to us on some alternative energy. What if, suddenly there's no electricity, there is a shortage of water or whatsoever, right? So it's good for us to look into this kind of alternative and what we can do again to overcome all challenges that may come. Okay, right? So I'm glad we have Jeremy Rizal, and I want to actually pass the time over to you, Mr. Jeremy. Thank you. Yeah, the stage is yours.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep, well and good. Yeah.
Is the audio good?
Okay.
Is the audio okay?
Do you have some Ken? And now
yes,
good.
loud and clear.
Yeah.
Join me?
But let me see. I think I have some background noise. I think Chu, you have to mute everyone because
now
I still hear
clearer.
Some background noise. Yeah, okay, but I think we have some background noise.
Okay. I think maybe some people are not muted yet.
Yeah. So actually, okay, Ken. Now good. Okay, so reserve your questions till the end. Yeah, either you put it on the chat room, or we will give you a chance to actually hands up, and unmute your mic, and you can speak and ask the questions later. Okay, right. Okay, now over to you, Jeremy.
Hello, everybody. Nice to have y'all here. And so in the last few weeks, some people have actually donated finances for me to do a bit of research and testing of equipment in the area of solar, in the area of cooking and things like that. So my background is actually in design and web design. And then I started helping out a lot of people involved in the area of fisheries in the US and different countries. And so I basically worked with 8 marine biologists, and we did a lot of fisheries identification and also with plant identification for the scientific community. That's what really triggered me to really get into plants a lot. And my family has always been into plants. We've always grown our own stuff, gardening for many, many years. So this has always been a hobby of my family. And we were in Kedah before this. And then 2 years ago, I came up to Penang. And so I had to sadly forego the garden. And right now I am in a low-cost flat. So I am actually still trying to figure out how to do up the garden over here. And so this is going to be a work in progress over the next few months as well, along with the solar and everything else as well. So bear with me as my gardening skills grow in a different direction. So right now, I'm going to try and share a screen here. Desktop, PowerPoint. Okay. So can you all see my screen? Can anybody see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Let me take it up to the top. Slide 1. Okay. Alternative energy. So what is alternative energy? Alternative energy is anything that, doesn't really require you to use the household electricity. Like in my place, I don't really use household electricity. for some reason, something is triggering my computer to move ahead. Sorry about this. Not really sure why it's doing this. Okay, so in this thing, sometimes with working with stuff we are not familiar with, we have to be prepared for anything, because like for me, I did not have electricity for 6 months. Just complete and total blackout. Why? Because lightning struck my place. Now, in case you're wondering how on earth electricity can blow out entirely everything, well, the house was previously owned by someone else who passed away, and I came into this place after, came into ownership. And the previous person did not take care of the place, and so all the wiring and everything was really shoddily done, really poor. And so when lightning struck, everything went. 95% of all the cables in this place just died. It was really, really horrible. And and it right smack in the middle of all the COVID-19 pandemic. And so all the electricians would not come and visit. So they kept saying, no, we will not come, we will not come. I'm like, wow, okay, that's pretty crazy. What do you expect me to do? Stay in the dark? And they said, well, we can't do anything. So for the next 6 months, I did not have electricity. So various friends of mine from the US and Australia and all, they donated solar panels and also some a generator. So I literally just lived off what I could with the solar and just had to skimp on everything. And so that helped in a way. My misfortune ended up being my fortune. The solar was nice to use, but it was very, very tough. There's I'm trying to get to my screen right here. For some reason, my screen does not want to play nice. Okay, let's get into Agri Voltaics. What is Agri Voltaics? Agri Voltaics is where farms are developed to work together with solar panels, which is photovoltaics. Photovoltaics and agrivoltaics, that's solar panels plus plants. So how many people here are familiar with agrivoltaics or solar panel farming? Does anybody want to say anything about that? Have you ever tried? You can unmute yourself for a moment. Or is this something new to everybody?
It's something new, never heard of.
Okay, so that's in the US and also in Europe, they're starting to try different types of farming. And even in Kedah, when I was there, I was like trying to figure out how I could incorporate both the solar panels as well as the plants. So my solar panel was out in the garden. I did not want to stick my solar panel up on the roof because, for one thing, if my solar panel is up on the roof, I'd have to climb up the roof to either to wash it or anything of that sort. And someone would have to go up there in my place because I have spine damage. So obviously I'm not going to be able to climb up there. And to install solar panels, it's going to be a bit costly because I'd have to hire people to do the job. And then I decided, okay, maybe there's a cleverer way of doing this. I began to mount the solar panels against the wall. And then that led to me thinking, maybe I can use the solar panel as like a covering to some of the plants. You see, not all plants like sunlight on the full. some plants need the shade and some plants need full-on light. And the heat can be very overbearing for some of the plants. Like some of us, we don't want to be out in the sun in the midday. That's why a lot of people wear sleeves on their arms to prevent themselves from getting burnt and stuff like that. And some people use suntan lotion. Same way, some of the plants just hate the heat so much that they will die. So to prevent that, you can actually rig up your solar panels from your roof, but use it like a tarp. You know how some people use the black colored tarp to cover some of the plants that can't stand the light? Well, you can use your solar panels in that way as well. So you make it like a shade to cover some of those plants, and you hide your plants underneath there. Let's go into some of it in a moment. Okay, there are some YouTube videos that you can actually check out. Okay, this one is pretty good. This is by the Oregon State University. Can you all hear the audio?
Agriculture uses an enormous amount of resources. It takes a lot.
You are still on the first slide, Agri Voltaics. You haven't changed your slide.
Oh, you cannot see it, is it?
You are still on your first slide.
The slides are not moving.
I see. Okay.
Global water resource consumption is used for.
Can you see this now?
Yes, we can see the slide. You can see the video.
Can you hear it?
Resources. It takes a lot of water and energy to grow.
The voice is breaking up.
You cannot hear the voice, is it?
Cannot, not very clear.
Ah, okay. If that is the case, then let me put the link directly. Then you click it and have watch it first on your own computers, because maybe there's an issue with the audio. So I'll just send you the link right now and just watch it on your own computers with the audio. That will work as well. Okay, go ahead and watch it on your computer so you can hear it.
Everyone loves spreadsheets. Actually, but check this out.
Agriculture uses an enormous amount of resources. It takes a lot of water and energy to grow our food. 85% of the global water resource consumption is used for irrigation, and 1/3 of greenhouse gas emissions are attributed to agriculture. At the same time, demand for food is only growing. The global population, currently at 7.5 billion, is estimated to reach 9.8 billion by 2050. We will need to nearly double our current food production to meet that demand. We will also need to improve access to food, reduce food waste, and address inequities related to food deserts. Food is complicated, and an approach to a dynamic and sustainable food system is multifaceted. Let's focus on the future production and resource management side of the equation. Looking at the water issue alone, with the current agricultural methods, there will be nowhere near enough water to grow the needed level of food production by 2050. And we are all aware of the high cost of fossil fuels on our wallets. And if this has forward, we will likely be looking at food shortages, which in turn could cause social unrest and potential economic collapse. Agriculture has always adapted and genomics. Most growers are accustomed to exploring new methods of addressing emerging challenges in agriculture and continue to look for ways to mitigate risks brought on by a changing climate.
Is there supposed to be any audio now?
If y'all are watching it on your own, then you'll hear your own audio playing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Let me know when y'all are finished watching.
But Jeremy, there's no sound at all now, and the video is not moving. Huh, Jeremy?
You are supposed to
Nothing is
watch it
moving.
on your own screen. Just
I
click on
know
the link.
they
Watch.
was having problems sharing the video, so Jeremy posted the link in the chat.
I see. Okay.
Have you all finished the video already?
Yes, finished already.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay.
And it's how the
What is your
Oregon State University is working to make tomorrow.
feedback? Anybody has any feedback you'd like to share? Anybody has any feedback? You can
Jeremy,
unmute and
Jeremy, you say you use a solar panel over the plant. That means the solar panel, it will be a big panel and it's going to be very expensive, isn't it?
Well, solar panels are pretty expensive, yes, as all technologies nowadays. And recently, with all the prices going up, it is expensive. But then let's say within 5 years or so, your investment would have covered back. Like for example, I got my first solar panel about 3-4 years ago, and there was a saving. Each one panel was about 80 ringgit savings a month. So in the end, it was worthwhile. So yes, all these kind of technologies are investments upfront, but eventually you get your money back depending on how well you do your farming and things like that. Yeah. Everything in life is an investment. Any other questions?
So looking at this technology per se,
Yeah.
looks like you need a space, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Two, you need
Yeah.
to have the capital small. How big is the capital investment that one has
Yeah.
to come up with?
Okay. It all depends on how, I think, Esther, you have said that there are some people who are willing to do land share. Is it something like that for farming, right, Esther? I think she's on the road still, so maybe it's a bit hard for her to speak up. Anyway, so there are some people who are willing to do land shares and stuff like that, where you pay them a certain amount and then you work the farm. And so, you'll have to collaborate with others as to do these kind of projects. If you have your own land, you can use that. Like back in Kedah, it was our own garden, and so we've just planted stuff in the garden. And so if you're in a town like in Penang or something, then of course that's a bit more tricky. But surprisingly, there are some people who are interested in farming who would like to team up together with people who are willing to work the land. And yeah, there are actually people who are willing to, and it's just up to us to search out those people and collaborate. That's what good collaboration does. So price for price, it's hard to say because it all depends on how resourceful you are in finding people who will work with you on this. There is no price that I can say because every place is different. Every situation is different. Every budget is completely different.
Yeah, looking
Okay,
at
so sorry. Jeremy, what did you ask me just now? I heard my name, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are asking
Okay.
about
There was one time you were saying something along the lines of people looking for people to do farming on their land, right?
no. What we do, of course, under Yayasan group is that, okay, we are coming up because we are a group of members coming together. So we do have some spaces where we can do community farming. That's why I say I want to now advocate community farming. Yeah. So we are able to come up with I mean, the space is there now. That's why we need to have committed people who can come and, of course, committed time to take care of the plot that we want to actually divide, okay, to each family. Then after that, that family must take care of that plot of space. Okay. So we are moving towards that. Yeah. So therefore your question is about your question. Yeah. What's the question?
So yeah, that was the question. Somebody was asking along the lines of what is the budget for starting up something of that sort, to get the land and do farming with Agri Voltaics.
Okay. Can, of course, if you say those who are interested, always do approach us, okay, so that we can actually gather those people who are interested. Yeah, right now we do have some spaces, okay. In fact, it's rooftop lah, not land. In fact, better because rooftop is somewhat nearby to us, okay. So as far as called urban farming, not so much of land. Whereby initially we wanted to find some land, but it's kind of far. But right now we do have some rooftop made available for us. Yeah, so those who are interested, please, okay, really PM me. Yeah, so that we can work out those who are interested. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's why we need actually more information, perhaps from your side, to do your solar panel thing, how much would that be? And of course, then we work out a budget, and then of course, it will be shut because it's all community now. Okay, yeah, that will be come back to you. Yeah. Sorry, my background will be noisy. Okay,
no worries.
So, back to you first. Yeah, back to you.
Yeah, okay. So you see, now there are those who have the ability to do urban farming and those of us who don't even have that. So like people like us, we have to get creative and get to know people who have the ability to do it and partner with them. Or like in my case, I have no ability to use any form of farming, but I have brains. So I connect with them, I give them ideas. I'm the ideas guy. And then they team up with me, they take my ideas and make it possible. And then we work out something of that sort. So you can go into the area of brainstorming with people who are able to carry out all those things. So every case is different on a case by case type situation. So yes, I don't have a particular budget because location is completely different and costing is different. Yeah.
Jeremy, one
Any
question.
other? Yeah.
So far, you have endeavored into this area of farming. Has there been any success story?
At the moment, everything is new. The only how to say good stories I can tell you is because in my own garden we grow our own food, and so we just do trading among the neighborhood because my neighbors also like planting, and so we always traded. We had always 4 banana trees. We had AAA grade bananas. I actually got them listed with the scientific community and a AAA quality, and we always traded them with the community. When they had food, we exchanged foods. And now that I have moved into a low-cost flat, I don't have that ability anymore. That's gone for me. My family is still able to, because they're in Kedah, but I don't. So here, the only things that we can do is just plant like basic things outside my veranda and things like that. So it's still a work in progress for me and right now. And so I'm trying to get in like plant grow lights and things of that sort, and trying to work something out. But at least here in my direct neighborhood, my neighbors are really good and we exchange food here as well. So you got to get to know people, do connections with people, because at the end of it, it's your community that matters.
Jeremy, I would like to know what are the different sizes that solar panels come in?
Oh yeah, okay. There's lots of them. I have 50 watts. I started off with 300 watts. I also have 50 watts. I also have 150 soft panel, the flexible solar panels, which I don't recommend. Actually, let me show you something from my PowerPoint. Just give me one moment.
So different sizes obviously cost different. Would you be
Yes.
able to indicate like 300 watts is how much, 50 watts is how much?
Yeah, every place that you buy it from has got different prices. There, I cannot give you all fixed prices because every person that you buy it from is going to charge you different. Like if you're in Penang and Kuala Lumpur, you're gonna find things gonna cost a lot more than, let's say, if you get it in like a cheaper area with no overheads and stuff like that. So you really got to do your own planning on this. Like I can give you links to the soft panel type, which is by Dokyo, and that you can get on Lazada. I can send you the links because those are on offer to everybody in this group, this WFA group. So you'll automatically get the special deal on that, including 1-year warranty. But honestly, I am not really a fan of soft panels. For one thing, they're not really fun to use. They don't power up as much as the hard panels. But if you really cannot use a hard panel, then you don't have a choice. If like you're constantly on the move, and you're definitely not going to be able to use a hard panel because those things are heavy. Like I cannot even lift one of those things. It's too heavy for me. It takes 2 people to carry it. Of course, if you're strong, you can. So every price on them is so different. You can get like a 500 watt panel for about 900 ringgit. You can get 300 watt panels for maybe between 600 to 1,000 ringgit. When I paid for my 300 watt panel, it used to be 1,003. Then the price went down to 900 and so on. So now our money is so small, the prices are going up and down every day. So that's why it's impossible for me to give you a final pricing on them. Just recently, the cost of solar panels, I was actually made an offer for 600 over ringgit for 500 watts, 540. And now I found out that it's going to be over 900 ringgit again. So this is like literally overnight. So the prices vary literally overnight. So yeah, it's hard to say. You just have to use your ability to find people. I remember I posted online how cheap it was going to be, and next moment it was already 900 something.
Oh, so can you give me the size, just a rough estimate? Like one panel would be how many meters by how many meters?
Yeah, some of them are about 2 meters, like the 500 watt type are about 2 meters or so. And then the small ones, like the 50 watt types, they are, let's say, around half a meter, or well, over a half a meter. Yeah, roundabouts that. Some are square, some are long. You basically just have to find one that you really like, because there's so many shapes. They come in so many shapes. So it's hard to say. But roughly 300, 400 watts, 500 watts, they're all about 2 meters. Yeah.
Jeremy, have you come across any sample sample farm that is already in existence in Kuala Lumpur or in the Klang Valley?
I know that there are farms out there, but I don't know of them using photovoltaics, solar panels on the farms yet. Although in the last few weeks, I have been getting calls from people from this very group itself asking me that they would like to get solar panels for their farms. That means they are actually moving towards it, and it's from this own group. So that's a good thing. So I think there are some people who are not here today who are actually gearing up towards that move. So it's quite exciting to hear them actually say, hey, we really want some solar panels and, solar generators and things of that sort. Yeah. This is like literally over the last few weeks.
How about can the solar panels energy power water pump for irrigation?
Yeah, that's where the fun starts. You see, once you have your good solar panels up, that is the hard panels. Sorry to say, the soft panels may not cut it for you. Those things don't always work very well if you want good power generation. But the hard, solid panel types, generally, if you invest really well, you can actually power up a lot more than just your water pumps, because water pumps, you basically just need to get it started, and then from there you can actually go into more like automated. You don't really need to power them all the way with electricity. It's normally just to get it started, and then everything else starts to follow. Yeah. Any other questions?
So in the video, I saw they kind of like slant it and make it look like a roof over the plants. So it's heavy and all that. So the structure has to be very heavy duty lah.
It has to be sturdy. Yes, because once you set it up, you also have to take into account the wind and all that. Wind does blow, and so wind can actually drag the thing. So you do have to mount it really, really well. So you have to put grounding rods and things real deep into the ground to do it. And they have drills called augers, AUGER or AUGUR, and you can get them on Lazada. Just have a look, later on, and you can actually buy them. They're hand drills that you can go pretty deep, and then they plant these metal poles all the way, and then they secure it with heavy poles, heavy not ropes but cables, and they help to hold up the structures pretty well.
Okay, so
all those things do cost money, and they are an investment like everything else that you want to start in life. But at the end of it, within a couple of years, you should make your money back by, if you're selling your products and things like that pretty well, or you have people who are willing to donate. You can always get people who are willing to sponsor or things like that. Like for me, I'm a disabled person. I have spine damage, and I have no way to earn my own keep. But I have people who sponsor my projects from time to time. Sometimes you may be able to get that. It's up to you to come up with something creative that people want to back. And so, for example, recently, someone donated some money, and then someone else also donated, and so it was sufficient for me to be able to do my research into solar and things like that. So it's up to you how you communicate with people, your vision and stuff like that. So if people love your vision and mission, they may back you up. It's just how you play your cards.
Jeremy, let's say for example you plant your vegetables over 1 acre of land. Does it mean you put the solar panel over that 1 acre or a section of it?
A section, because for one thing, if you notice that if you take any object and you put it on your grass, what will happen to the grass within a few days? Anybody tried that? Well, the whole thing becomes yellow, and then after that you put it there for 1 month, the pot or whatever that you put there actually sinks, and so that whole ground area doesn't heal very well. And that's one problem, that you do not want to have something completely cover the ground. And that's the same for any object that hides the lawn. So that is why solar panels are good if you can make them so that they can tilt. You notice that in the video that they tilt the the panels. That is to prevent that from happening, because the sun needs to hit the grass for it to be able to grow. The land needs to prosper from the sunlight, and so do your plants. But some plants cannot cope with full on light. They will just die too much. That's the cool part about solar panels and the way they protect some of those plants. But you have to be very careful with the way you do it. After a while, you get used to how much tilt you need out of it. Like all things in life, we don't know until we try over a period of maybe a year or so. Then we go, oh, okay, at this time of the year, this is how much tilt for it to give. And yeah.
So generally, what direction does the should the solar panel be facing generally?
Yeah, according to your sun, because the sun sets and rises, so you just follow according to your sunlight and sunset, so your sunrise and sunset. So yeah, you can either go all the way to your
you face the
east. Yeah, so for part of the day, for half of the day, you follow the sunrise, and then half of the day you follow the sunrise, the sunset, sorry.
So the panel needs to move, is it?
It's up to you. If you only care about it one way, then just go with that. Otherwise, you can always get like a flippable type of thing. You can like get a structure made where you can actually flip the board over, or you can put two back to back. So 2 panels back to back, so you get both the front and the back or something, because it's hard to say, because how your light affects you. Some places, the sunlight, like in my place, I only get light in the sunset, not the sunrise. The building blocks me off completely, and so it is so subjective. That those kind of questions like where to angle your panels is very subjective, because every location is different. You are subject to whatever is blocking you. If you don't have any blocks, amazing. You just be very grateful that you don't have any blocks. You get both sunrise and sunset. So you just have to go with what you got, what is given to you.
So looking at the slide that we have in front of us, that panel is actually behind chart keygens. Is actually very much exposed to the sunlight, right? Because there's no blockage.
Yeah. So if you have, like in some cases where they call them bifacial solar panels, whereby it's two sides. So if you can actually construct something where it accepts the light from both sides, like you can put two panels back to back, so you get both the sunrise and the sunset. So you can come up with something like that. Then you get the best of both worlds.
So is it safe to say whatever that we see here behind chart is an ideal panel?
Nothing is ideal. Sorry to say, it sounds so vague. But then the problem is everybody, where you are, whatever land you work with, you have your own set of challenges, and you literally have to work out your own challenges with what's given to you. So if your challenge is that you can only get light for half a day, you literally have to just run with it. For those who are able to get light twice a day, sunrise and sunset, go all out, and it is, sorry to say, I'm not trying to like you skirt around your question, but literally every situation is so different. In my home in Kedah, my family home in Kedah, we had all the sunlight in the world. Now I'm facing a huge problem where I only get it at sunset. That is why I'm speaking to you as such. You may encounter that problem in your location as well. So you literally have to just go with the flow and make the best of what you got.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it sounds so vague, but yeah, I literally went through all that. Okay. Okay, all these that you see here in the background, do you see my background here? Do you see like a whole lot of pots?
Yes.
Cookware. Yeah, all those were actually donated. So like all these will be powered by solar energy. So as you can see, there's a box in the background. That's actually a small solar generator. So, and then it's powered by the solar. The solar panels are in the kitchen area, the kitchen window. So I sacrificed my kitchen window just to put solar there.
Yeah.
Because that's literally the only place that I'm getting solar energy from. And so each one of you will have challenges. So I can do like a slow cooking and things like that, stew and stuff like that, just from using solar.
For each panel, depending on the size of the panel, how much capacity of the energy can be stored? For it
would you
can
like to
last for how
rephrase
many
the
hours?
question?
Sorry, my question is any panel that you install, it all depends on how much the capacity of the storage that you are able to contain the energy, right? The solar energy.
Yes, that's right. So let's say if you have a small capacity battery, then you're kind of limited as to how much battery energy you can save per day. And so if you have a very small generator, maybe 300 watts or something like that in a little box like what I have here, and then right now a bunch of us are making our own generators. We actually do it yourself DIY solar generators at the moment, and those will be total 3,000 watts, eight batteries built in. So because right now in Malaysia, They only sell 500 watts, 500 watts, 1,000 watts, and 2,000 watts.
Jeremy, there's a disruption of your line.
Okay, let me try again.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Can you hear me better now?
Good. It's good.
Yes.
It's
Okay. Okay. So yeah, in Malaysia, there is a frustrating thing because our money is so small. So they sell 500 watts, 1,000 watts, 2,000 watt solar panels. Solar generators in Malaysia that are very small battery packs. And so we found it very hard to store a lot of energy. So we're literally, a bunch of us, we're actually working together with someone and self-building our own solar generators that's 3,000 watts with 8 batteries inside. It's an all-in-one generator. So currently we are doing all our research. We just bought the parts ourselves. And so we're going to be building it over the next few months. And so slowly, one step at a time. Right now, I'm only using a small generator for myself, but eventually everybody else, the team members, they're going to be getting bigger, better units. And those, you can store a lot of energy because it's 8 batteries. So each battery is 200 amp hours. And so you imagine with 8 batteries, it's all up to you. If you got a lot of sunlight, you are going to be able to store a lot of power. Yeah.
Just let us know when you are successful in getting that.
Yeah, we've already got the parts now. And so half of the parts we've already received, and the rest of it we're waiting. And so even over the next few days or weeks, we're going to be working together with the guy to organize everything. Yeah.
All right.
So let me show you roughly what it looks like. Give me one moment.
I have a question for your 3,000 watt generator. Is it consistent enough to run the refrigerator?
Oh yeah, even my tiny one does. My tiny generator can already power the fridge. It's not an issue.
Wow.
As long
is it volatile? Because fridge is very sensitive to changes in the wattage, so it has to be quite a stable supply of power. So is that generator trustable to keep not to spoil the fridge?
That's a very good question, and glad you asked that. You see, the thing is, in the past, people use this really volatile batteries, and they are so dangerous that you poke one and the whole thing blows up. And in fact, this is the reason why they do not allow you to take battery type objects into aeroplanes, because terrorists were literally using their handphones and blowing up the batteries in the phones and in the time bombs. That's literally how they did that with the batteries, and because they're that volatile. And so now we have what they call a LiFePO4, which is lithium ferrous or lithium ion. LiFePO4, which is the newest type of batteries. And those, the good ones that I used, are so good that you can literally take a metal rod, ram it right through, and still use it. That's how good they are. They will not explode. You can still use them while they're being poked. So that's how good they are. So, you have to get, it's all a matter of investment. You want to get something good, you invest in it. Yeah. So that's what we are using now in our builds. And I think you can see what I'm showing you right at the moment. Can you see my background?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So, okay. Now, even the tiny one that I was telling you about is stable, and I have run my television, my fridge, and stuff like that with that tiny one. That's how cool it is. Yeah, you won't have any problems. Now, there's a difference between the type of inverter that is used in the system. There are some called, I know this is going to sound very technical, but hear me out. This is the reason why. There is what you call a modified sine wave, SINE, and a pure sine wave. Now, the pure sine wave is more expensive than the modified sine wave. And the pure sine wave is the one that you want to get because it produces a good balance, a very smooth up and down of the flow of electricity. And whereas a modified sine wave is very blocky, it's literally squared off. And so it goes like step, down, up, down in a very squarish way. And that just drives your stuff insane. And that's going to knock your systems out. Your fan will go, your electronics will go, your computer will go. That's why some systems die quickly. Very poorly done inverters. And so these that we are using is very top-notch, literally world-class inverters. Yeah.
I see. Thank you.
So you gotta get the right stuff. Yes, it costs a lot more than the cheap ones. Seriously, a lot more. But that money pays off in a big way. Yeah.
So another question. The generator that you have 8 batteries, say fully charged, how long can it last?
Again, it's all up to how you use it because, okay, put it this way. You have a glass of water, right? And let's say it's 250 milliliters per glass. So you drink that 250 milliliters. So that lasts a few seconds, right? Now you have a water tank that is like several gallons. Now, of course, that one obviously is going to last you if you're only one person, right? But if you have 2 persons drinking out of it the same time, of course, it's going to deplete another 500 milliliters at a time. But if you have 4 people drinking at the same time, that's 1 liter depleting at the same time. So it depends on how many people are using that and what you're using it for. Do you get a comparison here?
Yes, understand. So charge, recharge as you use it, or like our phone battery, we charge it as it finishes?
Yeah. With the new type of battery technologies, and if the system is made for it, you can do what you call a pass-through charging. That is, you charge while using. The term is pass-through charging. Normally, a generator always comes with pass-through charging unless it's a really bad system. I have heard of some people that saying that generators cannot do pass-through charging. I'm like, wow, what on earth did you buy? You know, that's pretty sad because you need to use it at the same time as charging, and it's got to have all those safety features at the same time. So normally they should have it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's what you need in your farms and stuff like that. So you can like use these generators to power up anything that you need for the farms, like let's say your water type situations, your water pumps or stuff like that for startups. Or anything that you need around the farm. These generator units are pretty good because we are building them up to be good. The issue is that, you know, in Malaysia, because our money is so small, the costs are so crazy high. And to get anything that is 3,000 watts and above, it's almost impossible to find. Actually, come to think of it, I haven't even found one. You can get higher wattage types, but those are the extreme ones from the US, and those cost like about 15 to 20,000 ringgit, if I'm not mistaken. I have actually seen one that goes up to 60,000 ringgit. Bluetti, some of them are cheaper. Gold Zero, they make those generators for up to 60,000 ringgit. Those are like for extreme type situations. But if you look at the wattage, it's not overly that high either. They have good battery size and all that, but eventually they will still run out of it too. It's just that our money is so small, the conversion just drives our prices sky high and everything else. So that's why we're literally making everything on our own right now. So right now it's not available to people. That is the downside. Yeah.
I have one more question. I see in your background, you have many types of ports like USB and all those and PowerPoints.
Yeah.
So is there a maximum number of PowerPoints that you can put in each generator?
It's not a matter of how many, but if you look at your house, have you looked at your circuit board in your house? The fuses in your box, there's 20 amps, 10 amps. Well, let's say you take, let me show you an idea. Do you see this power bank? Wait a minute. Okay. Let me switch off the background here. Otherwise, it's going to prevent you from seeing anything that I put in my face. Just give me one moment. Okay. I'm holding a power bank right now. This is 2 amps.
Cannot see.
Sorry?
No video.
Oh, that's strange. You cannot see my background at all.
No, just your name. And
Jeremy, you need to get into the share screen.
Can see, can see.
Can see now? Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, so this power bank is 2 amps in size. Okay, and it charges at 2 amps as well, and it also puts out 2 amps. Now, imagine if your fuse box is only 20 amps. So how many of these can you charge at one go?
10.
Okay,
Yeah.
exactly. So in the same way, you have to see the fuse number on the system. So let's say in the generator, the fuse is only rated at 15. You cannot go beyond the 15. If it's rated at 10 amps that you put in the fuse, then you can only put in 5 to power 5 of these. So it all depends on the fuses that you use, because there's 5 amps, there's 10 amps, 15 and 20 amps. So that's it. You can only go according to the fuses that you put in.
Oh, so it can be made to order then?
Yeah. In fact, we're doing everything custom built to order. Yeah. Whereas the ones that you buy, like at Shopee and Lazada, they come fixed. Like for example, the cigarette lighter type, they come fixed at 10 amps. So the ones that my team is doing up is 15 amps maximum. So, around 13 to 15 amps max. The household fuse for the sockets is 13 amps or 13.5, 13 amps, roundabouts that. So everything that you do has to be up to that maximum, and that's it. So in that case, you can only do 6 of these. So you got to just go with the flow. Go with what you've got, Of course, there are that's why we have not just one unit, we have maybe 2 or 3, depends on how we're building. So each one of those will be rated at 13 to 15 amps each. So if that case, then we can put up to a maximum of 12 or 14 amps on one, and then the same on another unit. So that's how it's done, the rating.
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yes, yes. So I'm just thinking in terms of if somebody has land and they have their house as there, a regular house. So in the house, you have all sorts of equipments, electrical appliances and all that. So meaning to say, to power up that household, you may need a few generators.
No, actually, because what you asked me was only for those sockets for the USB and things like that. Those are different from the rest of it. Whereas your household type, those 3-pin types, they are rated at 13 amps. And your household can actually run a lot of those equipment at 13 amps, which is good enough. But if you need something higher, then you need to have a special unit, heavy duty type. Those can be built in, but the average house does not use anything above 13 amps, just to let you know. You're quite safe at 13 amps.
Oh, even, how about aircon? It doesn't take more than 13 amps?
It depends. The old ones actually take, I'm not sure exactly how many, because I don't use an air conditioner. I don't use an air conditioner, so I don't know how many amps. I can search it out for you, but in general, it doesn't really take more, because 13 amps is quite a lot. Let me search, actually. Let me look up something here. It's a good question you ask, because I never use air conditioning.
Yeah, maybe air conditioning, or I don't know, the water heater or something that consumes higher power than regular appliances. Because I remember one time the electrician told me that he has to change that power point for my particular washing machine, or what was it? I can't remember. That needs more than a regular power point. So
yes, that's right. Okay, now according to this, it says that the average unit for air conditioning uses anywhere between 15 to 60 amps. So those, if you notice on your circuit breaker, there is one that is normally a brown color, and that one is about 60 amps. And that's what those heavy duty type units actually run off. The fuses are for 60 amps.
Right.
Whereas like the average home that uses all those heavy duty ones, you no longer use a normal fuse box like the average home like we do. Yours would be like a more the upper class type of homes. You need a special type of circuit box, which is completely different. And those are powered completely different from ours as well. But the average type of person that doesn't use air conditioning and all that, at the most you need is 60 amps, and that's only one fuse. The other is normally about 30 to 40 amps, and the rest are only between 6 amps to 20 amps, and that's just average. So you have, like in my case, my circuit breaker, my friend and I literally did our own. So I have some that are wired to the 6 amps, and that's for all of my LED lights. They only use up to maximum 6 amps, and therefore my fuses are only rated at 6. Then I have some of those that are rated for 20 amps, and those are my heavier duty, like drills or electronics or things like that, computers which draw more power. And then for the 60 amps on, those are the ones that pretty much run everything else, that is heavy duty. So I can power heavy duty things if I want to, but at 60 amps, you're generally really, really good, and you only need 1 or 2 in the house.
Yeah, so that actually was my original question. Can your single generator have the different amps in that one generator?
Oh yeah, that's basically you actually have built-in how do you say, fuse box. Let me show you. Let me get you my portable one.
You
Just
have
give me
to
one
use
moment.
Okay.
At least you can see. Okay, can you see me? Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a homemade box with the fuses and everything.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so with this, I have right here, this is 32 amps, this orangey colored one.
Yes.
But my household unit is 60 amps.
Yes.
So you gotta use the right fuses for the right stuff. So in the same way, your generators should be rated for the right things as well. So you have parts like this in the generator built in as well.
Okay, understand.
Yep. So yeah, so this one is 32 amps and my other one is 25 amps on here. So in general, most people would be able to be okay with sizes like that. But if you're going to use like the old type of air conditioning that doesn't have the, how do you say, built-in inverters, then it's going to use a lot more power. That's why I try to get new equipment like refrigerator or washing machine that have inverters built in, because trust me, it saves a lot of energy, saves you a lot on your electricity bills. There's a huge difference between the old type and the new type. My friend's refrigerator uses something like 2000 watts. Mine uses 316 watts in a whole year. Can you imagine the difference? So yeah, look out for equipment that doesn't use that kind of wattage. So in the end, one whole day, my refrigerator only uses 800 watts roughly. So, and that's for the whole day. So that's really nothing at all. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
So that is why my fridge can actually run on my little portable generator. My little portable generator, I can fit it into my backpack. That's how amazing it is. And it can power a fridge. It's just that it cannot power it that long because not enough battery power. So that is why we're building these generators with 8 batteries in them. So you'll be able to power stuff for longer. We are telling people get at least 2 generators, because generators, just like people, do get tired after a while. So, human beings, we need to sleep in night. Give your generator a rest as well. Use one in the day, use one at night. If you have the finances for it, be kind to your equipment. Your equipment will last a long time. Okay, let me get back to some of the online videos that you can see. Just give me one moment while I get to it. Okay. Are y'all familiar with air to water generators? Has anybody heard of air to water generators?
No.
No.
Okay, let me send you a link to this. Okay, just watch it on your own computers. Let me put this in the chat. Please check your chat and then click on the link that I am putting up here and watch it on your own screen so that you can hear your own audio.
Win at work by communicating.
Can everybody mute your microphones? And then let me know when you have finished watching. This is called the Albert dehumidifier. And so it basically gets air and converts it into water. So several people kept asking me, is there any way you can convert air into water? So there are other models like this that can work. Some are very cheap and some are very expensive.
So it's a dehumidifier, is not a generator, is it?
That's right. So what you are looking at is a generator. Dehumidifier. Sorry, not the generator. So let me now show you the actual generator, which works on the principle of a dehumidifier, but you can also use it as like a water dispenser and everything else, and all in one thing. Now those cost a lot more because it's in US dollars. They cost about 4,000 US dollars, which in our money is like a lot. I think it's like 18,000 or something like that ringgit. But for those who are able to afford it and stuff like that, for let's say maybe small commercial purposes, then you might find it very useful. So let me get it for you. Just give me one moment. Okay. Let me share my screen. I have to get used to this screen sharing thing. I keep thinking that, it's just going to show up. Just give me one moment. Share a screen. Okay, share. Okay, do you see what I see right now?
Yeah. Jenny,
Can you see that?
Yes,
It's called Jenny. Okay, so this unit runs on it powers up itself with electricity, but you can also power it up with solar panels. If you have solar panels, you can actually hook it up or to your generator. Then of course you'll be running entirely energy free. So that's always a good thing. Then basically it just takes whatever air is out there, because Malaysia is very blessed with ridiculous amount of humidity. I have actually seen days where it reaches 99% humidity. It's like ridiculous. You walk out of the door and you're already sweating. And so this thing just takes up all the humidity and then converts it to water. And then it has a filtration system, and then it has a hot and cold. So you can actually get hot water or cold water. So it's all in one. So that's why the cost is quite high. It's 4,000 something US dollars. So if any of y'all are interested, it's available now. It's coming soon to Malaysia. So it's right now available in Indonesia. In fact, the Indonesian army has actually bought a bunch of the higher capacity type. There's this type, smaller one. So two of the ladies from this group were speaking to me about this air to water generators. And so the three of us, we began to speak to the company a few days ago. And so this is the information that was given to us by the company. So I'm very grateful to the two ladies who actually took the trouble to chat through with me on the whole thing. And so this one can power up to 30 liters or 8 gallons a day. So each person, if you're going to drink about 2 liters or 3 liters of water a day per person, then you'll be able to provide water for quite a lot of people. So it's nice, a good family size, and enough even if your neighbors come over too. So that's fun. Or you could have like a party or something like that. A few people come over and you'll be able to have water for them, or do your washing of the dishes or something like that with, you know. So this is in a situation. What happened there?
I think someone
Can everybody
forgot if someone didn't mute the mic.
Yeah, can everybody please mute your mics? And if you want to ask a question, then you can unmute.
All right, I think you can proceed.
Yeah, okay. So this is a very useful device because you don't have to do much with it unless you want to, after a couple of months or maybe a year where you have to change the filter or something like that, then you change it out. Otherwise, you can go with the cheaper option of going with a dehumidifier. The downside of dehumidifiers is that you don't have a water filtration, which is okay because all you need to do is to get the cheap water filter types from the stores. They cost between like 60 to 100 something for a good one. And you do some DIY, you get your plumber to come over, do some piping, do some put some pipes so that, you know, the water that is filtered from the dehumidifier then goes into a water container. Now you won't be able to drink that water right away. You still have to filter that, and you should boil it because this is not a water treatment system if you're going to use the dehumidifier. So you should boil it or have some kind of water treatment. So, but whereas with this type of system where you have an actual air to water generator, it does it all for you. Thus, the cost, 4,000 US. So you have to see which one is more your thing. So if you have the budget for it, get the all-in-one. If you don't have the budget for it and you're willing to go with just the dehumidifier, at least you will be able to generate your own drinking water in a situation where you don't have water. You can use your solar generator to power it, so that's already a plus. So those are things that you can look into. Any questions? Anybody? Have I lost people?
Perhaps you can proceed. Normally they will ask questions once you finish your talk.
Yeah. Okay, let's proceed. Let me unshare. Just give me one moment. Let me get to it. Share screen. Okay, can you see this one? So alternative energy introduction. So all these years, the cost has been taken care of by the electric company. So they bear all the costs. They build the dam, they build the equipment, and we just click the switches and boom, magic, electricity. We don't have to think about anything else. More power to you. But now that you are planning on taking on the responsibility of managing your own power, all of that unseen behind the scenes planning is now on you. You can look at it as a blessing or a pain. It's either fun or you have to take out the shotgun. You know, because you hate that thing so much, you want to just blow it away to smithereens. So you're going to see a lot of things like amps, watts, watt hours. What do they all mean? You know, A, W, W, H. So you just say, oh, okay. Amps. You'll see this on a lot of power banks and the household fuses and circuit breakers. Remember just now I was telling you to check out your fuse box? That's normally in amps. Watts. You will see this on things like household light bulbs, kettles, solar panels, etc. So my friend had a hair dryer. He tried to plug it into his generator, wouldn't work because there's anything to do with heating and cooling takes a lot of watts. So a hair dryer can be 1,800 watts. So if you try to plug it into your generator, it's just going to shut off. So you need something that's powerful enough. That's why we're building a generator of our own that is 3,000 watts and can handle up to 5,000 watts of power. So it's 3,000 fixed, but in case there is a surge, it can power right up to 5,000 watts. So watt hours is what your electricity bill charges you, you know, every month. So that's the difference, the amps, the watts, and watt hours. So an amp is how much electricity flows per second. As you can see on the circuit board there, that's red. Got a red circle, that's the amps. And then your fuse can be 5 amps to 13 amps or something like that. A watt is power, is the voltage multiplied by the number of amps, or watts equals volts times amps. So if you have how many volts, then you multiply it by amps, and that's what you get watts. So washing machine, mine can be 200 watts. It depends on how much of a load you're powering up. And my solar panel, a small one, 50 watts. There are some of it which are 100 watts, 150. So I have another one that's 150 watt. Then there's some that are 300, and now they even have 540 watts. So you can check out all that information on the type of solar panels that you get. And watt hours, so 1 watt hour of power, that is 1 watt of power used for 1 hour. That's watt hours. And what you see, that picture there, is what I have on my power bank. I have this a power bank. Afterwards, I'll show you. That one is about 2 amps of power that it draws. Let me get on with the presentation first. So solar generators. So roughly the generators that we are building, this is kind of what the specs look like. So there are 8 batteries in them and everything else. It's heavy. It's not always easy to lug around, but it's amazing because to actually power a whole house generally costs about 20,000 ringgit, a month, sorry, not a month, sorry, in general, when you have to pay upfront. But what I mean is, sorry, I'm not saying clearly. You have to pay 20,000 bucks upfront to power up your devices. So it's amazing that we can actually do it all up in a little box that costs under 7,000 or so ringgit. So less than half of the price, we can actually build a whole generator and be able to power up pretty much a house, except when it comes to air conditioning and heating devices. So you got to be careful with heating devices, because you cannot run a heater and your iron at the same time, because those will nuke your system if you run both at the same time. Heating and cooling just destroys your system. That's why we are so blessed that right now we don't have to worry about all that stuff, because we run on Tenaga's power. But if you're like me and you had no electricity for 6 months, you have to make do with what you got. So let's hope you never have to go through a power failure like I did. But even when I was in New Zealand, I lived on an island the size of Singapore, but we only had 4,000 people. Only 4,000 people. Can you imagine that? And we had to have a generator. But the sad part is, after 10 p.m., we had to switch off the generator. No matter how cold we were, the generator had to be switched off, because just like people, everything needs to sleep. People need to sleep, so does the generator. You cannot run a generator 24 hours every day. You're just going to kill that thing, So we had to switch it off at night. So whether or not I was cold, too bad. Just have to pile yourself up with a lot of clothes and look like a penguin at night. So that's the reality. Unless you get 2, one for the day and one for the night. So that's realistically speaking. But you're still cheaper than the total cost. You see, it costs roughly about 20,000. You've got something for 14,000. You're still better off than not having anything. So this is what MPPT is. So basically, an MPPT runs your system in the generator. It's called a maximum power point tracking. So all generators need to have one, but some are good quality and some are bad. So this is the top of the range. The one that we are using uses this MPPT, which costs about 340 ringgit. So they range, the prices can go up as well, and they can go down in price, but the ones that are lower generally are very poor quality. And that's when you can get a lot of problems with them. And then there are some people who use this PWM, which is pulse width modulation. And these are for the low end type of generators. I don't recommend them at all. They're just not good. So you use that and you're going to get into all sorts of trouble. Solar panels. Just 10 years ago, the cost of solar was 20 to 30,000 ringgit. And that was just to heat water. How many people here used to have one of those solar panels that was only used to heat hot water in the home? Anybody? My neighbor had one of those. Cost 20 something thousand ringgit. That was 20 over years ago. Now we can build portable units under 5,000. That is, if you buy different components, and you hire somebody.
Cannot hear clearly.
Okay. Let me unplug and plug back in. Now can you hear me?
All right, it's better now.
Okay. So in the past, it just cost too much money. Now you can just hire a guy for about 5,000 ringgit. You buy all the parts yourself and he'll build it for you. So we are so blessed that they no longer cost an arm and a leg like they did. Imagine just 20 over years ago, just to get the hot water heater was 20,000 ringgit, the solar type. Now you can power up pretty much half a house for that kind of money. Pretty amazing. Technology has grown leaps and bounds. Does anybody have any questions that you'd like to interrupt me for?
Jeremy, can you share your design in drawings or writing?
At this moment, not yet. I have to actually design something. But feel free to email me. I'll see what I can do for you. My email, as you can see, is at the bottom of the screen. So y'all are welcome to take down my email and email me anything that you need. I will help you out. I'm very happy to help you with that. Is that okay?
Jeremy, your sound is breaking out again.
Oh. Now is it any better?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. Technical issues. Okay. So this one was a 300 watt solar panel that I had when I was in Kedah. It cost me over 1,200 ringgit, and I spent about few $100 just for the cables as well, the solar cables. This was a couple of years ago. Within a few months, it went down from 1,200 to 900 ringgit. So now roughly you can get about 500 watts instead of 300 watts for about 900 or so ringgit. So if you want to budget your money towards getting 540 watts solar panels, then you can just save up and get a bunch of them soon. Because the good thing is, instead of having so many panels, one solar panel can generate up to 540 watts. If you have two, you can power up to 1,000 over watts and so on. So it doesn't take up so much of your roof space anymore. Like in my case, I didn't even bother using a roof. I just plonked it onto this metal stand that I normally use for plants in the garden. This is in Kedah. After the COVID-19 stuff, prices have gone right up again. So these are cables, 6 millimeters. For solar, you use 6 millimeter cables, okay? Don't use 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters, whatever, 6 millimeters. These are special cables for solar. So then the problem with metal and aluminum, if you put it together, it is going to cause corrosion. So simple trick, I just put bubble wrap between the two. Never had the problem. So sometimes you just got to get creative. It doesn't cost much to get creative. All it took was bubble wrap. Nowadays, if I don't have bubble wrap, I use the electrical tape. Just get a couple of rolls of electrical tape, just tape up the thing. As long as it doesn't have contact between the aluminum and the metal, you're good to go. It is that simple. One moment. Technology is great when it works. So when it doesn't work, it's okay. One thing you should never do is mix and match your solar panels. So if one panel is 100 watts, don't mix it with a 200 or 300 watts, because you're only going to get less than 100 watts in total. It just follows the weakest link. You will not get the maximum or optimum energy. So never, never, never mix panels. Always get the same. If it's 200, 200, 300, 300. These are the soft, flexible solar panels. I hate them. Really, really hate them. There's only a few that I take exception to. And later on, you can email me if you want any information, because I can get you the offer for that. That's the only one I actually recommend. So it's yeah, just email me and I'll send you the link to a soft panel if you need a soft panel. That's the only one that I will recommend. Like all these that you see in the picture, absolutely hate them to the max. Let me show you why. When I received my soft panel all the way from China, it was so soft that these jokers actually piled things one on top of another onto my solar panels. My 2 solar panels came damaged because they're so soft. They just absorbed whatever was put on it. As you can see, my 2 solar panels were scarred. Can you see the scarring on them? The lines on them? Well, by the time I tried to use them, they were completely useless. And the problem is, many times when you get these soft panels, they have no warranty at all. That means you're not going to get money back or anything in case something happens to them. You're kind of like dead in the water. So that's why I prefer the hard panels, because they have warranties and they handle much better. But if you don't have them, you have no choice but to get a soft one. There are 2 or 3. There is one particular one that I recommend. That's all. That's how bad it is. So the only good one that I recommend is one by Dokyo. That's it. Power banks and adapters. Okay, be careful when you get power banks. Some are good and some are bad. This one that I bought, they look cute and all that, but they're utterly and absolutely dangerous because the batteries in them are so poor quality. They actually bloated up. They became fat and dangerous. And if you continue to use them, they will actually catch fire. So stay away from power banks like these. Some of these are good, so you just have to find out which one works and which one doesn't. If after some time they work for you, great. So every country has different brands of power banks. So just buy whatever you can. I ended up buying like the 20,000 milliamp hours. For me, the average use of a power bank, 10,000 milliamp hours lasts me about 1 hour. So roughly around that. Yeah, okay. All this is very technical and very boring, but I'll just run through really quick. After that, you can ask me questions. So because I had no electricity for 6 months, I used these 5 volt to 12 volt step-ups. They are adapters, step-up adapters to power my internet router, modem, 12 volt fan, and LED lights. So I have continued to use them for 1 year now. That's how good these things are. When I had no electricity, can you imagine? I had to continue going to my Zoom classes. Imagine I have no electricity, but I was still able to go for my Zoom classes. You're wondering how? Well, I had the power banks. So I used these adapters. I plugged them in. I connected my router, my modem, and then, I used a special power bank to power my computer modem, and my computer I plugged into my generator. So I was still able to go to my classes. So next time you ever need to go to your classes or Zoom meetings and stuff like that, you have no excuse. You cannot say, oh, I have no electricity, I cannot go. Well, there's actually a way. I lived through 1 year of doing it. So you can as well. So if you ever need these parts, you can just email me and I can let you know how to get all these things. Any questions? Any questions, anybody? This is the power bank that I use now.
Okay. So far, the only questions they were asking is how much does the smaller unit cost?
Smaller unit of?
Sure. It's a question from, let me see, Lim Joyce. Perhaps you want to elaborate what you were referring to?
Yeah, please do.
So because you ask me smaller unit, how much?
Smaller unit of what? The power bank.
Let me see. Lim Joyce, well, you want to elaborate on your question? Which unit were you referring to? Maybe, Jeremy, I think you can proceed first. We'll get back to the questions later.
Okay, sure.
Maybe
Okay.
they are not really able to answer right now.
Okay, sure. Oh, okay. Lim Joyce was saying the air to water. So, okay, the air to water, the more expensive one is 4,000 something US. The dehumidifier is about 2,000 something ringgit. Sounds better, right? Price for price. Yeah. But remember that you have to spend money getting a plumber to come and drill some holes, put in some pipes and water, a water container so that you can store all the things. You know, those water barrels that they use for water dispensers, those plastic bottles, those huge ones, you can get that and fill those up with the water as well. But you got to get somebody to help you drill the holes into the dehumidifier, but you got to do it properly so that it doesn't damage the unit. And then you just drill a pipe, drill a hole, put in the PVC pipes, and then you can store all the water that way. Yes, it means that once you drill into it, you probably will void your warranty. So that's the downside of it. But it's a cheaper alternative to saving water. At least you can produce your own water. $2,500 isn't that bad compared to the 4,000 US. Compared to 4,000 US and 2,500 ringgit. Any other questions?
So Jeremy, so next time if you want to have this solar generator, solar panel, or solar pots and pans, we can get it from you.
I'm actually not selling them per se, but I can connect you to where to get them. Yeah, you can always email me. I'm happy to help you with that.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, officially the meeting is over, but you can ask me. I don't mind staying around. So feel free to ask me questions. I know some people have to leave, so go ahead. But some of you may be interested in asking questions. Otherwise, we will call it a close today.
Jeremy, one question. Yeah, you said that if we want to, if we are interested in anything, you will link us. But what about the generator that has the 8 batteries that you are building with some friends? Will you be selling this?
We are still working on them at the moment. We do not have a final date as to when, because everything right now that we are doing is at our own risk. That's the thing, because we're just starting up all this stuff on our own. And so it's high risk because this is something that's never been done. It's not even available to us. And so, so that's a tough and very subjective question to answer. It may still be a couple of months before we're even done with our own units. Because right now we're building up 3. We're waiting for the parts. The 2 ladies who are with me doing this, they have just received their parts just yesterday.
Wow.
And we had quite a couple of weeks, and I'm not sure. I'm wondering whether either of them is here with us today. I'm not sure. And one of the guys, he received 2 of the parts, and he has got 1 more part to receive, which is the MPPT I showed you all earlier. So I don't know whether he's here with us today, because I cannot see who's here today at the moment. So everything is right now on our heads. It's a big risk, but we are willing to take a risk because it's just not available on the market. And what they have on the market, we do not like at all. It's just not good enough. And so that's why we're willing to take a risk. We're literally writing and planning everything on our own. So if it works for us, possibility, so you're just gonna have to give us grace. We are literally giving ourselves grace too.
Really enjoy this session. Very.
It's been a fun thing. It's been a fun ride, but it's very freaky, frightening, because we don't know if we're going to lose our money even, kind of thing. What if this part doesn't work with this part? What if something just blows up or something like that? That's all on us. We don't know. Because theoretically things look good on paper, but it's still, that's why it's too new in the game, So I have one that works. One of the guys has one that works, but it was not powerful enough. So we're building something that's super powerful. And so, but we're taking as much care to put into it as many safety features into it so that nothing ever will happen to it. That's how much care. Literally every part has got a safety feature, right down from the battery to the wiring to everything has its own safety. So so we want to make sure that nothing ever happens,
Right. So good. All the best. All the best.
Thanks.
Jeremy, next time when finally when you have it all together, your let's say your so-called homemade generator, does it need to have the approval from SIRIM?
No, what do you call it? It won't be, because we're not doing it for the purpose of selling commercially. So it's only for ourselves and among our friends and stuff like that. Then no. But if you are actually going to do for houses on a commercial thing, yes, you literally have to go and get it registered. So, and you actually are technically not even allowed to do it that way. You literally have to sign up for a program with what's it called, the government, with Tenaga, and you have to route all energy into your system, into your household system, and it will convert the energy backwards, and so you'll get credited rather than that. But you can always tell them that you want to have a backup, because what happened to my friend in Australia is that he powers it to the grid, so the grid gets that credit, but if there's a blackout, there's no power at his place. And so if there's a blackout, he's completely in a blackout as well. And that's anywhere in the world. That's just how it works. So you have to tell them, look, I need a backup system, and they'll kind of like close an eye and let you have a backup generator as well. And so you just plug that in, and you just, from the grid that you just supplied to, you just take back some of that energy to power your generator. Then yes, it's not legal per se, but they allow it, kind of thing. Yeah. Officially, you have to do it through the Tenaga.
Thank you.
Okay, Jenny, I believe we have one question in the chat which is all related. May I know how does the solar panels work, the one that you fix on the rooftop of the houses and you sell the energy generated back to Tenaga Nasional?
Yeah. Okay. It used to be that once upon a time that many countries had this system whereby you could sell back the energy. So you see, because these power companies have to make dams and machines, it costs them billions of dollars, millions and billions. So they don't have to build it. If you are powering up your own, making your own units and stuff like that, and powering up your system, so it saves them all that money. So they're very happy to provide you some of that finances. But the problem is nowadays they don't give you finances anymore. You just get a credit. So that's annoying. Really, really annoying. I'd rather see cash than credit.
My understanding of how it works, so I think you're going to need quite a lot of solar panels to generate any substantial amount of power.
Yes, that's right. That's why my friends who actually run it, they have something like 16 to 28 solar panels.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
I heard you need something like solar energy farms to actually generate anything useful.
Not
Something like
necessarily. Not it used to be, yes, not anymore. Because now you can get the 540 watt panels. It's going to take up less space on your roof. You're going to get tons of energy with them. The cost up front.
Okay. Yeah. Depends on how efficient the panels are, I suppose.
Yeah, the panels are quite efficient. These new ones are very efficient. I know for sure because even the 300 watt panel that I had, that single one was already overpowering my system. That's how much energy it got, to the point where I had to switch on my lights, my fan, my TV, just so that, to release all that energy. That's how much energy I was getting just from that. That's how efficient it was. So now with the 540 watt units, if you have a couple of them, you better have a lot of battery space because it's going to overpower your system.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy. I believe that is all the questions. Before we conclude the session, I have posted a link in the chat to join our Yayasan WFA group. This is actually the third group already because our first and second has reached the maximum capacity. I believe Jeremy is inside in one of the groups, the number 2 group, I believe.
I'm in the second.
So, well, this is the link to join the third group because the second group is full already, where you can. It's basically where all the people who have participated in the WFA, they can feel free to discuss things related to their farming or other topics. So if you are interested, you just click on the link to join our chat group. Other than that, I believe there aren't any more questions. Does anyone want to ask anything? You can feel free to unmute yourself.
And don't forget to take down my email. So if you have any questions or anything,
perhaps can you repost your email in the chat?
Yeah, my email is very simple: seahorse, SEAHORSE @gmail.com. Is that simple enough?
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. It's seahorse. Okay. All right. Jeremy has posted his email on the chat. So if you need to ask him anything later, you can send him an email. All right. All right. In that case, I believe we can conclude this talk. Miss Esther, yeah, are you there, or is there anything you would like to add?
Hi. Yeah, should
Yeah,
be okay.
yeah.
Good. Thanks a lot. Very good. Chill. Well done. Thank you, Jeremy, for really giving us such a comprehensive, way, to generate electricity and all that. Yeah. But of course, I think, once you have a sample, I think I heard also just now, someone was asking, right now, you just say, you have done everything, I think we would like to know more. So perhaps I can have another session with you, right? Is it possible?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because this is only preliminary. I'm sure you have questions. This is the best time. Now is the time to go and plan all your questions, write it down, and then we can plan another one. Then you have even better questions. The more questions you ask me, better still. That's why actually you can email me your questions. I'll have time to plan all those things and give you a better presentation the next time.
That's right. Okay. Thank you. I guess it's just a preliminary talk today. So anyone who have any more questions, okay, either feel free to actually directly deal with Mr. Jeremy, or of course again come to our chat room, because I think then we can have a more synergy, as in perhaps we can work together. Like I said just now, we really want to have a community farming under our Yayasan. Also, really feel free to reach out to us, join our chat room. Then we can actually, in fact, we are, just to let you know, our WFA is coming out with our own community app, whereby 3 groups that can combine together. Right now, is like, like Jeremy, you're in second group, you may not be able to hear what the third group and the first group say. Not to worry, stay tuned. Your WFA is coming out with your own community app. Yeah, then all of us can be together. Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much. Okay, really today, wow, I'm so glad you are safe at the 7+ already. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm actually developing my own cooking gear, electrical solar powered cooking gear.
You are also good in cooking. That's right. That will be our next round with you. Okay. I think maybe Chiu, you want to take a photograph, because I'm now using phone only, so I'm unable to do it. But perhaps you can do it. Chiu, want to take a photograph? We do a thumbs up.
Everyone who if it's convenient for you, please turn on your video. We'll take a photo. As usual, we have a thumbs up for our speaker.
Yeah, correct. Okay, thank you. Thumbs up for Jeremy. Thank you.
All right, everyone who can turn on the video. Okay, I'll be taking the screenshot now.
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay, and one more. 1, 2, 3. All right. I think that's all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. A very good day. A very good evening. Thank you.
All right.
See you next week.
See you next week. Enjoy your weekend.